All right, so we're here back in the workshop, and it's not ready yet, but that's okay. I've got all my rulers set up down here. Got below the bench all kind of set up. I haven't got any carpet on the counter yet, but I'll put a little bit of something on there. A couple of guitars I'm working on at the moment. First one is this beastie, as you can see. So we've got a recessed neck or tilted neck on beautiful Magneto box. We've got oak fretboard, and I think it's walnut. It's a lovely walnut. I'm looking forward to putting some oil on this. But yeah, it's just going to be really lovely. So this will be fretted. Have some nice position markers in there. This is one we've had for a little while up on the website. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a revamp. This was one I built a little earlier. And I'm basically just cleaning up the fretwork a little bit. It's been very dry here where we are, and some of the timber has shrunk a little bit, the fretboard timber. So I basically just got a file, very simple, where the frets come slightly proud of the fretboard. We just basically just take that slight edge off the tang, and that's all fine. That's all good. Just run my finger up the sides just to make sure that they're smooth and they feel lovely and smooth still. So it was just the fret tang that was just poking out a little bit because the timber is slightly constricted due to the moisture in the air. I'll just lift this up just a little bit. All right. Okay, so that's the first thing. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to jazz it up a little bit. I've got a very old, very old pickup on this guitar. This is an old, if you have a little look at that, this is an old Tesco pickup. And it measures about 2.7 kilo ohms, which is very weak. So it's really underpowered. So it's quite close to the strings, so that the strings pass through the magnetic field. It's it's a pickup from about 1963. So I mean it's a 60-year-old pickup, which is very cool. So yeah, it's on the website, and I have got some videos of it. It's got a 0 fret, which is very unlike me. Just there, 0 fret. So there's no nut, as you see. So we've got these screws here holding down the strings, and then they go over the nut. I don't often build using 0 frets, but this is great for someone who wants to do a lot of fingerstyle. So I quite like this. So the job today was basically I'm going to be putting some box corners on this guitar, just to jazz it up a little bit. I'll lift this one up. Now, I've got a couple of fairly thick screws that I'd used for that. And I don't like gluing my boxes shut. A very simple reason for that is that if I glue them shut and something happens to them or something goes wrong, which you hope doesn't, but if it does go wrong, you want to be able to get back into the box without ripping the box to pieces. So let's get some box corners, and we'll jazz this puppy up with some box corners. Oh yeah, they're the ones I want. There's a little hammer. I like these little light hammers because I can mold and shape the box corner so it fits. Sorry, it's like being in a shop, and you imagine you had a clothes store, and I spent nearly 20 years in the rag trade selling suits and menswear and stuff like that. And you might have something up in the shop, and it doesn't sell. It might have been there for ages, and it just sits there and sits there and sits there. And all of a sudden you dress it up. It might be a shirt that's sitting on a display and it just hasn't sold. And all of a sudden you dress it up with a different pair of pants, or you put it in a different spot. You move it. Oh, these box corners have two other little holes in the top for the screws. I don't use those because I find if I'm, especially up in this where here is where your arm's over, if you got a woolly jumper or something like that, it can actually catch. And I just don't think it's necessary. So I usually leave those out. And not all box corners have screw holes in the top. It's just these particular ones do. So I just leave them out. Not a big deal. That's all. These little box corners, they've actually got little, on the side holes, you can see those side holes just there. On the inside, they've got these little teeth. And these are really great because they dig into the box and they really kind of hold it in place for you so it doesn't slide about. Let me know as well if you prefer this setup where we're kind of front on while I'm chatting with you. And I think this kind of works a little bit better. There you go. Razzle dazzle. I reckon that looks 110% better. I won't put any on the bottom. Don't need to. But so that's that. That's that first part that we're talking about. Now the next part, because these three screws here, the way they are as ugly as a back end of a dog. So let's just take these out. All right. Okay, to make this work, I'm going to need to drill the holes here just a tiny bit bigger because it's set up for it's basically set up for nails, and nails ain't going to do it. I'll just take this off. There we go. Clamp that down so that I don't hurt myself. There we go. All right, so I've got this clamp down, nice and firm. There we go, 1, 2. Let's see if that's going to be good for the screw that I've decided to use. Bring the guitar back. All right, get my pliers. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to straighten, firstly, because it's all kind of crooked. See, they go like that. So we're going to straighten it down first. And we're going to go up to the top and end it. There you go. Just like that. Do the same on this side. Bend it down. And again. Go to there. Alright. Now I'm going to place this over. Got some ugly ass holes there though. What am I going to do with those holes? You know, I want them to look nice. Here we go. Get a little bit of glue in there. Everything under there. There you go. Paper clip. Paper clip? It's not a paper clip. Yeah. Place that in. Cut it off. Jam another piece in. Cut that off. Yep, should be right. Jam that bit in. Yeah, get back in there, glue. Get back in there. Alright. Get that bit. Cut it at an angle. Jam a little bit more in there. There we go. Lucky last. Get back in there. Put that in there. Alright, so I'm going to place this over the top, like so. Now we want a fairly decent break angle over that nut. Oops. and make sure that that has got enough meat on it. So I'm going to put a number 2 hole. So I've gone 3, I've gone a millimetre different, but I just find that that gives it a nice amount of purchase. That's one there. Just going to flip that over now. There we go on the other side. I think this is going to look really smart. There we go. Just surprised me that this one hadn't sold as fast as I was kind of hoping it would. But you know, that's just one of those funny things. You know, if you've got a website, you might find, oh, I was thinking that was going to go a bit quicker than it did. I'll just go halfway so I can pivot if I need to. But yeah, just sometimes just adding a little bit of bling, changing something up. And it might even be that, you know, someone might have looked at this before and gone, oh, yeah, it's okay. But I might buy a different one, or I might buy a different one that's on your website, or someone else's. It doesn't really matter, you know, at the end of the day. In we go. Plug it on. Turn it on. That's a great little guitar.